A darkness of space stretched endlessly in all directions. But today, something moved through that darkness. Something big. Something that had never been seen before in this part of the galaxy. 847. Ships glided through the void like giant sea creatures. They were not made of metal or stone. They were alive. Their hulls pulsed with soft blue light that moved like waves across their surfaces. These were the ships of the Zephyrian Armada, and they had come to conquer another world. Admiral Clickstar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Tide. His tall, thin body swayed gently as he watched the star ahead grow brighter. His 4 eyes, each the size of a human fist, blinked slowly as he studied the yellow sun that the locals called Sol. "Admiral," said Commander Vex-High, his voice like the sound of wind through leaves. "We are now 3 days from the target system. Our scouts report the 3rd planet is full of life." Clickstar nodded. His long fingers touched the living wall of his ship, and he felt its heartbeat. The ship whispered to him in his mind, telling him it was ready for battle. All around him, the other ships in the fleet sang the same song. They were hungry for victory. "What do we know about these creatures?" Clickstar asked. Vex-High's skin changed color from green to yellow, showing he was excited. "They call themselves humans, Admiral. We have been watching their radio signals for 50 of their years. They are very primitive. They still use crude machines made of metal. Their ships burn chemical fuel like ancient rockets." The Admiral's mouth opened in what might have been a smile, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Excellent. Another easy conquest. How many worlds is that now?" 17, Admiral. 17 worlds have fallen to the Zephyrian way. Soon it will be 18. Far ahead, in the Sol system, a different kind of ship moved through space. The USS Defiant was not alive like the Zephyrian vessels. It was built from steel and titanium, shaped like a giant metal brick with guns sticking out of every surface. It was not beautiful or graceful. It was designed for one purpose, to fight. Captain Jake Morrison walked across the bridge of his ship. His boots made loud sounds on the metal floor. He was a big man with gray hair and scars on his face from old battles. He had fought in the Mars Colony Wars, and he knew what real combat looked like. "Captain," said Amy Patterson, the chief engineer. She was a small woman with grease stains on her uniform. "All systems are running at full power. The fusion reactors are stable, and the weapons are ready." Morrison nodded. "Good. Pete, what's the status on those strange signals we've been picking up?" Pete Williams, the communications officer, looked up from his station. He was young, maybe 25, with nervous eyes. "Sir, we're still getting those weird transmissions from the edge of the system. They're not like anything we've seen before. The computers can't make sense of them." Dr. Lisa Carter, the science officer, spoke up. "Captain, I've been studying. Those signals, they're not random. There's a pattern to them, like music, but it's not human music." Morrison felt a cold chill run down his back. In all his years of fighting, he had learned to trust his instincts. Right now, those instincts were telling him that something very dangerous was coming. "How long until we can see what's making those signals?" he asked. "If they keep moving ahead." "Their current speed, about 6 hours," said Ben Taylor, the navigator. He was a quiet man who rarely spoke unless asked a direct question. Morrison turned to look at the main screen. It showed the dark space ahead of them, empty except for distant stars. But he knew that emptiness was about to be filled with something. That would change everything. Back on the Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Clickstar was receiving reports from his scout ships. The news was exactly what he had expected. "The humans have only one ship in the outer system," reported a scout captain. "It is large but crude, made of metal like a primitive tool. It moves slowly and sends out radio waves like a child crying for attention." Clickstar felt pleased. "One ship? That is all? What about their defenses?" There are some smaller ships, near their home planet, but they are even more primitive. Admiral, this will be the easiest conquest we have ever made. The Admiral's 4 eyes gleamed with satisfaction. Excellent. We will show them our power first. One demonstration should be enough to make them surrender. Then we can begin the harvest. The Zephyrian ships began to change formation. They spread out like the petals of a flower, each ship's living hull glowing brighter as they prepared for battle. Their weapons, beams of pure energy that could melt mountains, began to charge. On the Defiant, alarms started to sound. "Captain!" shouted Lieutenant San Rodriguez from the tactical station. "I'm reading multiple contacts on the edge of sensor range. They're big, sir, really big. And there are hundreds of them." Morrison felt his heart start to beat faster. "Red? Alert! Battle stations! All hands! This is not a drill." The lights on the bridge changed from white to red. Throughout the ship, men and women ran to their positions. In the weapons bays, the massive railguns began to turn toward the enemy. In engineering, Amy Patterson pushed the fusion reactors to higher power. "Pete, try to send a message to those ships," Morrison ordered. "Tell them this is Captain Morrison of the USS Defiant. We come in peace and want to talk." William's fingers flew over his controls. "Sending message now, sir. Using all frequencies." Message traveled through space at the speed of light. It reached the Zephyrian fleet in seconds. Admiral Clickstar listened to the strange human sounds and laughed. "They want to talk?" he said. "How amusing. Very well. We will talk to them. But first, we will show them what happens to those who stand in the way of the Zephyrian Empire." He turned to his weapons officer. "Fire one warning shot at their ship. Not enough to destroy it, but enough to show them our power. Aim for their front section." The weapon charged with a sound like singing. Then, a beam of pure energy shot across space toward the human ship. On the Defiant, Dr. Karen Hughes was checking the medical bay when the ship shook violently. She grabbed onto a table to keep from falling. "What was that?" she asked. Got the answer. Came over the ship's communication system. It was Morrison's voice, calm but deadly serious. "All hands, we are under attack. Unknown alien vessels have fired on us. This is now a combat situation. All crew to battle stations. We are at war." The first shot of the battle had been fired. Neither side knew it yet, but this moment would change the galaxy forever. The Zephyrians expected an easy victory. The humans were ready to fight for their lives. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin. The energy beam from the Zephyrian ship hit the Defiant like a hammer blow from the gods. The front shields flared bright blue as they absorbed the impact. The entire ship shook, and sparks flew from control panels across the bridge. Captain Morrison grabbed his chair to stay standing. He had been hit by enemy fire many times before, but this was different. This was more powerful than anything he had ever faced. "Damage report." He shouted over the noise of alarms. Amy Patterson's voice came through the communication system from the engine room. "Forward shields down to 60%, Captain. But they held. Hull is intact. No casualties." Morrison felt a moment of relief. The shields had worked. The scientists on Earth had built them well. But he knew the aliens would not stop with just one shot. "Pete, did they respond to our message?" he asked. Williams shook his head. "No, sir. They're not answering. But I am picking up a lot of chatter on their frequencies. The computer is trying to translate it." On the main screen, the alien ships were now visible. They looked like nothing Morrison had ever seen. They were smooth and curved, glowing with soft light. They moved through space like living things, not machines. "My God," whispered Dr. Lisa Carter. "They're beautiful. Beautiful things can still kill you," Morrison replied grimly. "Sam, target the ship that fired on us. Load one railgun with a standard tungsten round. Lieutenant Rodriguez looked surprised. Sir, just one round? We have hundreds of them ready to fire. One round, Lieutenant. If they wanted to destroy us, they would have used more power. That was a warning shot. So I'm going to give them a warning shot back. Rodriguez's fingers moved over his controls. Deep in the ship, one of the massive railguns turned toward the alien vessel. The weapon was a marvel of human engineering. It used magnetic fields to accelerate a small piece of metal to incredible speeds. Target locked, sir, Rodriguez reported. Railgun 1 is ready to fire. Morrison took a deep breath. He knew that what happened next would determine whether humanity lived or died. Fire. The railgun fired with a sound like thunder. The tungsten projectile, no bigger than a bullet, shot out of the ship at 15% the speed of light. It crossed the space between the ships in less than a second. The alien vessel never saw it coming. The projectile hit the Zephyrian ship and punched through its living hull like a needle through paper. The organic material tried to heal itself, but the damage was too severe. The ship's biosystems began to fail. Admiral Clickstar felt the death scream of his scout ship through the psychic link all Zephyrians shared. The pain hit him like a physical blow. He staggered and fell to his knees. Admiral! Commander Vex-High rushed to help him. What happened? What was that? Clickstar struggled to stand. His 4 eyes were wide with shock. The ship, it's dying. I felt it die. But how? What kind of weapon was that? On the bridge of the dying ship, Captain Mordek watched his crew panic. Green fluid leaked from the walls. The ship's heart was beating irregularly. The beautiful living vessel was in its death throes. Captain, his weapons officer said, what hit us? Our sensors show no energy signature, no plasma beam, no quantum torpedo, nothing. Mordek looked at the small hole in his ship's hull. It was perfectly round, barely visible. But through that tiny hole, his ship was bleeding to death. I don't. No, he whispered. I've never seen anything like it. On the Defiant, Dr. Carter was studying the alien ship through her sensors. Captain, their ship is failing. Whatever we hit them with, it's causing massive internal damage. Their technology appears to be biological, not mechanical. Morrison nodded. That explains why they look so strange. They grow their ships instead of building them. He turned to Rodriguez. Sam, what's the status on that projectile? It passed clean through their ship, sir. Didn't even slow down. It's probably halfway to the next star system by now. The captain allowed himself a small smile. The railgun had worked perfectly. The aliens had expected energy weapons, shields, and fancy technology. Instead, they got a chunk of metal moving at incredible speed. Sometimes the simple solutions were the best. Sir, Williams called out, I'm getting a lot of activity from the alien fleet. They're moving into what looks like an attack formation. Morrison watched the alien ships spread out on the screen. They moved like a school of fish, flowing around, each other in perfect coordination. It was beautiful to watch, but he knew it meant trouble. Amy, how are those engines holding up? He asked. Running at full power, Captain. But if we're going to fight, I recommend we don't run away. This ship was built for battle, not for running, Morrison smiled. Amy was right. The Defiant was not fast or graceful like the alien ships, but it was strong. It was built to take punishment and keep fighting. All hands, this is the captain, he announced over the ship's communication system. We have made contact with an alien species. They fired on us first, and we fired back. One of their ships has been damaged. I believe they are going to attack us with their full force. He paused, looking around at his crew. These were good people. They had trained for this moment their whole lives, even though they never expected it to actually happen. We are outnumbered, he continued, but we are not outgunned. This ship represents the best of human engineering. We have weapons and defenses that no alien has ever seen before. We will show them what happens when you attack Earth." Across the ship, the crew cheered. In the weapons bays, the gun crews loaded more rounds. In the engine room, Amy pushed the fusion reactors to higher power. In the medical bay, Dr. Hughes prepared for casualties. Back on the Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Clickstar was trying to understand what had happened. His most advanced scouts had studied the human ship for hours. They had reported it was primitive and weak. How did they destroy our ship so easily? He asked his science officer. "Admiral, I'm not sure they used a weapon at all. Our sensors detected no energy discharge, no plasma beam, no gravity pulse, nothing." Clickstar's skin changed to a dark purple, showing his anger. Ships don't just die by themselves. They used some kind of weapon. Find out what it was. "Yes, Admiral." "But sir, what should we do now? The humans have shown they can fight back." The Admiral's 4 eyes narrowed. "Then we will show them the true power of the Zephyrian Empire. Signal all ships. Attack formation. We will crush them with our numbers." The alien fleet began to move. 846 ships, each one beautiful and deadly, turned toward the lone human vessel. Their hulls glowed brighter as they prepared their weapons. On the Defiant, the crew watched them come. "Well," said Morrison quietly, "I guess talking is over." "Sir," said Rodriguez, "I count 846 enemy ships. We have 1 ship." Morrison looked at the odds and shrugged. "Then it's a fair fight. They've got numbers, but we've got something they don't." "What's that, sir?" asked Williams. "We're human," Morrison replied. "And humans don't know how to quit." The space between the two forces began to shrink. The alien ships moved in perfect formation, their weapons charging. The human ship moved to meet them, its guns turning toward the enemy. Neither side fully understood what was about to happen. The aliens expected another easy victory. The humans were ready to fight like their lives depended on it, because they did. The alien ships came at the Defiant like a storm of living lightning. They moved in a spiral pattern, each ship flowing around the others in perfect harmony. Their hulls pulsed with energy as they prepared to fire. Admiral Clickstar watched from his flagship as his fleet took battle formation. This was the Zephyrian way. Beautiful, graceful, deadly. They had used this same formation to conquer 17 different worlds. "All ships, prepare to fire," he commanded. "Show these primitives the power of evolved warfare." The alien ships began to glow brighter. Energy flowed between them like electricity, jumping from one conductor to another. They were sharing power, creating a weapon more powerful than any single ship could make. On the Defiant, Captain Morrison watched the enemy formation with growing concern. He had never seen anything like it. The aliens were turning themselves into one giant weapon. "Sam, what are you reading on their energy levels?" he asked. Lieutenant Rodriguez checked his instruments. "Sir, they're off the charts. Whatever they're about to do, it's going to be big." Morrison nodded. "All hands brace for impact. This is going to hurt." The alien fleet fired as one. A massive beam of pure energy shot across space toward the human ship. It was beautiful and terrible, like a lightning bolt thrown by an angry god. The beam hit the Defiant's shields with incredible force. The entire ship shook like a toy in the hands of a giant. Sparks flew from control panels. The lights flickered. The smell of burning electronics filled the air. "Shields down to 30%. Amy called out from the engine room. "Hull breaches on decks 5 and 7. Morrison felt the ship groan under the impact, but it held together. The human engineers had built the Defiant to survive anything. And so far, it was living up to that promise. "Damage control teams to decks 5 and 7, he ordered. "Pete, how are our communications?" "Still working, sir. But the aliens are jamming most frequencies." Morrison turned to his weapons officer. Sam, I want you to target as many of their ships as possible. Load all railguns with tungsten rounds. It's time to show them what human weapons can do. Yes, sir. All guns loaded and ready. Fire at will. The Defiance railguns opened fire. 12 massive weapons sent their projectiles streaking across space at incredible speeds. The tungsten rounds were invisible to the naked eye, but their effects were not. The first projectile hit an alien ship near the center of their formation. It punched through the living hull and out the other side, leaving a perfectly round hole. The ship's biosystems tried to repair the damage, but it was too severe. The vessel began to drift, its lights fading. The second round hit another ship, then a third, then a fourth. Each hit was a kill. The alien ships had no defense against solid projectiles moving at such high speeds. Admiral, Clickstar felt each death through the psychic link. The pain was overwhelming. His ships were dying, and he could feel every moment of their agony. What kind of weapons are those? He screamed at his science officer. I don't know, Admiral. They're not using energy at all. They're throwing pieces of metal at us. Metal? Metal can't hurt our ships. Sir, metal moving at 15% light speed apparently can. The human ship continued to fire. Its weapons were not as elegant as the Zephyrian energy beams, but they were devastatingly effective. Each shot was a kill. No shields could stop them. No armor could deflect them. Return fire. All ships return fire. Clickstar ordered. The alien. Fleet responded. Hundreds of energy beams shot toward the Defiant. The human ship disappeared in a ball of fire and light. Surely nothing could survive such an attack. But when the light faded, the Defiant was still there. Its shields were down, and its hull was scorched and blackened, but it was still fighting. Impossible, whispered Commander Vex-High. No ship can survive that much firepower. On the Defiant, the crew was working frantically to keep their ship alive. The shields were gone, but the thick armor was holding. Damage control teams ran through the corridors, sealing hull breaches and putting out fires. Amy, I need more power to the weapons, Morrison shouted. I'm giving you everything I've got, Captain. The fusion reactors are running at 110%. Dr. Hughes was treating wounded crew members in the medical bay. I need more. Supplies, she called out. We're running out of burn medication. The ship shook again as more alien weapons hit the hull. But the Defiant kept fighting. Its railguns continued to fire, and alien ships continued to die. Alex Turner, the chief weapons officer, was coordinating the gun crews from the Weapons Control Center. Gun Crew 3, target the big ship on the left. Gun Crew 7, hit the cluster of small ships. The battle was not going the way the aliens had expected. They had thought this would be easy. One demonstration of power, and the humans would surrender. Instead, they found themselves in the fight of their lives. Admiral, said the fleet tactical officer, we've lost 47 ships. The humans are not fighting like any species we've encountered before. Clickstar's 4 eyes burned with rage. They're savages. They don't follow the rules of civilized warfare. Sir, what rules? We're trying to conquer them. But there are proper ways to fight. They should use energy weapons. They should have shields and graceful ships. They should not throw rocks at us. The truth was, the Zephyrians had never fought anyone like humans before. Every other species they had conquered fought in predictable ways. They used energy weapons against energy shields. They maneuvered gracefully through space. They followed the unwritten rules of galactic warfare. Humans didn't know those rules, and they wouldn't have followed them anyway. Sir, said the communications officer, the humans are sending another message. What do they say? They're asking if we want to surrender. Clickstar felt his blood boil. They're asking if we want to surrender? They have 1 ship. We have 800. Well, sir, we had 800. Now we have 753. The Admiral looked at the tactical display. The human ship was surrounded by the wreckage of his vessels. It was damaged and outnumbered, but it was still fighting. And it was still killing his ships. All ships close to melee range, he ordered, will crush them with our numbers. The alien fleet began to move closer. They abandoned their elegant formations and swarmed toward the human ship like angry insects. Morrison watched them come. They're getting desperate, he said. Good. Desperate enemies make mistakes. Sir, they're surrounding us, reported Ben. Taylor, we're going to be trapped. Then we'll fight our way out. Amy, how are those engines? Ready when you are, Captain. Morrison smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. All hands, prepare for ramming speed. We're going to show these aliens what happens when you corner a human. The Defiant's engines roared to life. The massive ship began to accelerate toward the alien fleet. Its guns continued to fire, clearing a path through the enemy vessels. Roy Phillips, a maintenance technician, was working on a damaged power conduit when the ship suddenly accelerated. He grabbed onto a pipe to keep from falling. What the hell is the captain doing? He muttered. The answer came over the ship's communication system. It was Morrison's voice, calm and deadly. All hands, we are going to ram the enemy flagship. Brace for impact. The Defiant, all 800,000 tons of it, charged toward the alien command ship like a metal comet. Its railguns fired continuously, destroying everything in its path. Admiral Clickstar watched the human ship approach and felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Pure, raw terror. They're insane, he whispered. They're going to ram us. They're going to kill themselves just to kill us. Commander Vex High was backing away from the main screen. Admiral, we have to move. We have to get out of the way. No, Clickstar said. Quietly. No, we don't. Look at them. Look at what they're doing. They're not trying to win. They're trying to hurt us as much as possible before they die. The Admiral finally understood what they were facing. These weren't just another species to be conquered. These were something new, something terrifying. These were humans. And humans would rather die fighting than live as slaves. The distance between the ships continued to shrink. The human vessel came on like an avalanche, unstoppable and deadly. Its guns never stopped firing. Its engines never slowed. The battle was about to reach its climax, and neither side was prepared for what would happen next. The Defiant raced toward the alien flagship like a bullet fired from the gun of an angry god. Its engines blazed with the fury of a star, pushing the massive ship faster than it had ever gone before. Admiral Clickstar watched the human vessel approach and felt his courage crumble. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen anything like this. The humans were willing to destroy themselves just to hurt their enemies. All ships, protect the flagship, he commanded. Form a defensive sphere around us. The remaining alien vessels moved to obey. They surrounded the flagship in layers, creating a wall of living ships. There were still over 700 vessels left. Surely that would be enough to stop one crazy human ship. On the Defiant, Captain Morrison watched the aliens form their defense. He had hoped to catch them off guard, but they were adapting quickly. The ramming attack was not going to work. Amy, cut the engines, he ordered. We need to try something else. Thank God, muttered Dr. Hughes from the medical bay. I thought we were all going to die. Morrison turned to his science officer. Lisa, what do you know about that experimental weapon the scientists gave us? Dr. Carter looked nervous. You mean the quantum torpedo? Captain, we've never tested it in combat. We don't even know if it works. What's it supposed to do? It creates a small hole in space-time. Anything caught in the hole just ... disappears. But sir, the calculations show it could be dangerous to us too. Morrison nodded grimly. Everything's dangerous right now. How long to charge it? About 10 minutes, sir. But Captain, if something goes wrong, then we'll deal with it. Amy, divert all power to the quantum torpedo system. Everything except life support and basic engines. Yes, sir, came Amy's voice from the engine room. But that means our shields will be down and our regular weapons will be offline. I know. We'll just have to hope the aliens don't figure that out. The Defiant slowed its attack and began to drift. To the aliens, it looked like the human ship was badly damaged. Steam vented from holes in its hull. Its lights flickered. Its weapons stopped firing. Admiral, said Commander Vex High, the human ship appears to be disabled. Clickstar studied the tactical display. The human vessel was dead in space, surrounded by his fleet. Good. Now we can capture it and study their technology. Sir, should we board it? Not yet. I want to know what other surprises they might have. Send a probe ship to examine it. On the Defiant, Pete Williams was monitoring alien communications. Captain, they're sending a small ship to look at us. I think they believe we're disabled. Perfect. That's exactly what we want them to think. Dr. Carter was working frantically on the quantum torpedo controls. Captain, the weapon is charging. But there's a problem. The targeting system wasn't designed for combat. It's meant for scientific experiments. What does that mean? It means I have to aim it manually, and I'll only get one shot. Morrison looked at the tactical display. The alien ships were arranged in a perfect sphere around his vessel. If the quantum torpedo worked, it could destroy dozens of them at once. If it didn't work, ... double quotes, how much longer? He asked. 5 minutes, sir. The alien probe ship approached the Defiant carefully. It was small and sleek, designed for reconnaissance. Its pilot was nervous as he scanned the human vessel. Command, this is Probe 7, he reported. The human ship appears to be heavily damaged. I'm reading massive power fluctuations in their engine room. Good, replied Admiral Clickstar. What about weapons? All weapons appear to be offline. They're venting atmosphere from multiple hull breaches. I don't think they're going anywhere. Clickstar felt satisfied. Excellent. All ships, tighten the formation. I want them surrounded so closely they can't move. The alien fleet began to close in. Hundreds of bioships moved like a living net, drawing tighter around the human vessel. They were so close now that their hulls almost touched. Captain, whispered Rodriguez, if they get any closer, we won't be able to maneuver at all. That's the idea, Morrison replied. Lisa, how's that torpedo coming? 2 minutes, sir. The quantum field is almost stable. In the engine room, Amy was pushing the fusion reactors beyond their safety limits. Come on, you beautiful machines, she muttered. Just hold together a little longer. Roy Phillips was helping her monitor the power systems. Amy, the containment field is fluctuating. If it fails, ... it won't fail. I won't let it fail. The alien ships continued to close in. They were now so close that the Defiant's crew could see the details of their living hulls. The bioships pulsed with soft light and strange patterns, moved across their surfaces. My God, said Dr. Hughes, looking out a porthole. They're so close I could almost touch them. Don't, warned Morrison. We don't know what those hulls are made of. 1 minute, Captain, reported Dr. Carter. The quantum field is stabilizing. Morrison looked around his bridge. His crew was ready. They had been through hell in the past few hours, but they were still fighting, still human. All hands, prepare for quantum torpedo launch, he announced. This is going to be unlike anything we've ever done before. The weapon charged, with a sound like music, but it was not beautiful music. It was the sound of reality being torn apart. Ready, Captain, said Dr. Carter. Morrison studied the tactical display one more time. The alien ships were packed around his vessel like fish in a net. The quantum torpedo would hit them all at once. Fire. The quantum torpedo launched with a flash of light that hurt to look at. It didn't move like a normal weapon. It simply appeared in the middle of the alien formation and exploded, but it wasn't a normal explosion. It was a hole in space itself, a wound in reality that sucked in everything around it. 50 alien ships vanished in an instant. They didn't burn or break apart. They simply ceased to exist, pulled into the quantum void. The remaining ships were thrown backward by the gravitational distortion. Admiral Clickstar felt 50 deaths at once through the psychic link. The pain was so intense he fell to the deck, screaming. All around him, his crew was doing the same. Admiral! Commander Vex High crawled toward him. What happened? Where did those ships go? They're gone, Clickstar gasped. They're just gone. What kind of weapon destroys space itself? On the Defiant, the crew watched in amazement as the quantum torpedo did its work. The hole in space lasted for only a few seconds, but in that time, it consumed 50 enemy vessels. Did we just do that? Asked Williams. We did, Morrison replied, and it worked better than we hoped. Dr. Carter was studying her instruments. Captain, the quantum field is collapsing. We won't be able to fire another torpedo for at least an hour. That's okay. I think we got their attention. The alien fleet was in chaos. Ships were fleeing in all directions, their formation completely broken. The elegant spiral pattern was gone, replaced by panic and confusion. Admiral, said the fleet tactical officer, we've lost 57 ships now. The humans have weapons. We don't understand. Clickstar struggled to his feet. His 4 eyes were wide with terror. Signal the fleet. Fall back to minimum safe distance. We need to reassess our strategy. Sir, are we retreating? We're regrouping. There's a difference. But as the alien ships pulled back, Morrison wasn't finished. Ben, take us toward that asteroid field. We're going to play hide and seek. Sir, that's dangerous. Those asteroids could damage our hull. The asteroids are the least of our problems. Right now. Amy, how are those engines? Still running, Captain. But we're down to emergency power for everything else. The Defiant began to move toward the nearby asteroid field. The massive rocks provided cover from the alien sensors. But they also provided something else. Weapons. Sam, load the mining charges. Morrison ordered. Rodriguez looked confused. Sir, mining charges aren't weapons. They are now. We're going to turn those asteroids into the biggest shotgun blast in history. The human ship disappeared into the asteroid field, leaving the alien fleet to wonder what other surprises these terrible creatures might have in store for them. The battle was far from over, but now the aliens knew they were facing something truly dangerous. Something that fought without rules or mercy, not something human. The asteroid field was a maze of floating rocks, some as small as houses and others as big as cities. The Defiant moved through them like a shark hunting in dark water. Its hull scraped against the smaller asteroids, but the thick armor held Dot Captain. Morrison stood on his bridge, studying the tactical display. The alien ships were staying at the edge of the asteroid field, afraid to follow him in. Good. That meant his plan was working. Amy, what's the status on those mining charges? He asked. All loaded and ready, Captain, came her voice from the engine room. But I have to warn you, using them like this is really dangerous. We could blow ourselves up. Everything we've done today has been dangerous. One more risk won't kill us. Dr. Carter was monitoring the alien fleet from her science station. Captain, they're moving into a new formation. It looks like they're going to try to surround the asteroid field. Morrison nodded. They're learning. But we're not done teaching them lessons yet. The alien ships spread out in a wide circle around the asteroid field. Admiral Clickstar was trying a new strategy. If he couldn't follow the humans into the rocks, he would wait for them to come out. All ships maintain position, he ordered. The humans can't hide in there forever. When they emerge, we'll be ready. Commander Vex High looked at the tactical display. Admiral, we still outnumber them 700 to 1. Why don't we just send in a few ships to flesh them out? Because I've learned something about these creatures, Clickstar replied. They don't think like us. They don't fight like us. Every time we think we understand them, they do something impossible. Deep in the asteroid field, the Defiant was preparing its next surprise. Morrison had positioned his ship behind a massive asteroid, one that was nearly a mile across. Sam, attach the mining charges to that big rock, he ordered. Set them for remote detonation. Rodriguez looked confused. Sir, what good will that do? It's just one asteroid. You'll see. Trust me. The crew worked quickly to attach the explosive charges to the asteroid. The mining charges were designed to break up rocks for easier collection, but Morrison had a different use in mind. Charges set, Captain, reported Alex Turner from the weapons bay. Ready to detonate on your command. Good. Now, Ben, plot a course that will take us out of the asteroid field right past the alien flagship. Navigator Taylor studied his charts. Sir, that will put us in the middle of their formation. We'll be surrounded again. That's the idea. Amy, I need everything you can give me from the engines. We're going to move fast. The Defiant's engines roared to life. The ship shot out of the asteroid field like a bullet, heading straight for the alien fleet. The sudden appearance caught the aliens by surprise. There they are, shouted the alien sensor operator. The human ship is leaving the asteroid field. Admiral Clickstar felt a moment of satisfaction. All ships, attack formation. Don't let them escape this time. The alien fleet moved to intercept the human ship. Hundreds of biovessels converged on the Defiant, their weapons charging. This time, they would not underestimate their enemy. But Morrison wasn't trying to escape. As the alien ships closed in around him, he gave the order he had been waiting to give. Detonate the charges. The mining charges exploded all at once. The massive asteroid shattered into millions of pieces, each one moving at incredible speed. The explosion turned the rock into a shotgun blast that spread across space like a deadly cloud. The alien ships that had been chasing the Defiant suddenly found themselves in the path of a million flying rocks. The chunks of stone hit their bioships like bullets, punching holes in their living hulls. What's happening? Screamed Admiral Clickstar as his ship shook from multiple impacts. The asteroid exploded, sir, reported his tactical officer. The humans turned it into a weapon. 50 more alien ships were destroyed or damaged by the asteroid fragments. The elegant biovessels were not designed to withstand solid impacts. Their beautiful, flowing hulls were torn apart by simple rocks moving at high speed. Morrison watched the destruction with grim satisfaction. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, he said. Pete, send a message to the alien fleet. What should I say, Captain? Tell them this is their last chance to surrender. If they don't leave our solar system right now, we'll destroy them all. The message was sent on all frequencies. Within minutes, a reply came back. It was Admiral Clickstar himself, and his voice was shaking with rage and fear. Human Captain, you fight without honor. You use crude weapons and dirty tricks. You are savages. Morrison picked up the communication device. Admiral, you came to our home to conquer us. You fired first. You brought 700 ships to attack one. And you're calling us dishonorable? We fight according to the rules of civilized warfare. Your rules, not ours. We fight to win. We fight to protect our families and our world. If that makes us savages, then we're proud to be savages. There was a long silence. Then Clickstar spoke again, his voice quieter now. What are you? Morrison thought about the question. We're human. We come from a planet that's been trying to kill us since the day we crawled out of the oceans. We've fought ice ages and plagues, and wars and disasters. We've survived everything our world could throw at us, and now we've survived you. The Defiant was moving through the wreckage of the alien ships. Its guns were still ready to fire. Its crew was still at battle stations. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the human ship was still fighting. Dr. Hughes was treating the wounded. In the medical bay, how many casualties do we have? Morrison asked over the communication system. 15 injured, Captain. No deaths. We've been lucky. It's not luck, Doctor. It's good design and better crew. In the engine room, Amy was nursing the overworked fusion reactors. Captain, we're running on fumes down here. We can't take much more punishment. How much more fight do we have left in us? Maybe one more battle, sir. Maybe. Morrison looked at the alien fleet. They had pulled back again, but they were still there, still a threat, still outnumbering his single ship by more than 600 to 1. All hands, this is the captain, he announced. We've hurt them badly, but they're not finished yet. Neither are we. We have one more trick to play. He turned to his navigator. Ben, plot a ramming course for the alien flagship. Full speed. Sir? Are you sure about this? I'm sure. If we're going down, we're taking their leader with us. The Defiant's engines flared to maximum power. The ship began to accelerate toward the alien command vessel. This time, Morrison wasn't bluffing. This time, he really intended to ram them. Admiral Clickstar watched the human ship approach and felt his courage finally break. He had seen what these creatures were capable of. They would really do it. They would destroy themselves just to kill. Him. All ships, emergency retreat, he ordered. Jump to hyperspace, now. But Admiral, we still outnumber them. It doesn't matter. Don't you understand? These humans are insane. They'll keep fighting until every last one of them is dead, and they'll take as many of us with them as they can. The alien fleet began to flee. One by one, the bioships activated their faster-than-light drives and disappeared into hyperspace. Within minutes, the space around Earth was empty except for floating wreckage. Morrison ordered his ship to stop its attack run. He stood on his bridge, watching the last of the alien ships disappear. They're gone, said Williams quietly. Yes, they are. Do you think they'll come back? Morrison thought about it. Maybe, but if they do, they'll bring a bigger fleet. And they'll be ready for our tricks. Dr. Carter was studying the sensor readings. Captain, I'm detecting several alien escape pods in the wreckage. Should we rescue them? Yes, bring them aboard. Maybe we can learn something from them. The Defiant limped back toward Earth, its hull scarred and blackened from battle. The ship had taken a beating, but it had survived. More than that, it had one dot as they approached their home planet. Morrison received a message from Earth Command. Defiant, this is Admiral Parker. What's your status? We've made contact with an alien species, sir. They attacked us. We fought. Back, they retreated. How many enemy ships? About 800, sir. There was a long pause. 800? How many ships did we lose? None, sir. We did it with just the Defiant. Another pause, even longer this time. Captain Morrison, when you get back to Earth, you and your crew are going to have a lot of explaining to do. Morrison smiled. Yes, sir. We're looking forward to it. As the Defiant headed home, its crew began to realize what they had accomplished. They had faced an alien armada with overwhelming numbers and superior technology. They had been outgunned, outnumbered, and surrounded, and they had won. Not through superior firepower or better ships, but through something the aliens couldn't understand. Human determination, human ingenuity, the refusal to give up no matter how bad things looked. Roy Phillips was helping repair the damage to the ship's hull. Do you think we'll see them again? He asked Amy. Probably. But next time, they'll know what they're dealing with. What's that? Amy looked out at the stars, where the alien fleet had disappeared. Humans. And humans don't know how to quit. The news of the battle spread across human space within days. The story of the single ship that fought off an alien armada became legend. Children would grow up hearing about Captain Morrison and the crew of the Defiant. But more importantly, the galaxy had learned something new. There was a species called Humani,